Now, if you're new to the channel, you may not know that I love statues, and you may not know that I love Silver Surfer. Now, recently, I purchased Sideshow Collectibles' new Silver Surfer exclusive maquette. And just like many people, I had a lot of issues with this piece, so I'm going to talk all about that today. But more importantly, I'm going to rank that with the 10 Silver Surfer statues I have in my collection, talk about each one, and see which one is king. It's that one. As the Extreme channel is pushing towards 50,000 subscribers, these are just a few of the statues we are giving away on the journey there. If you want to know how to win one, stay tuned for later in the video. Alright, so before we kick it off, I want to clarify a few things. While this will be a traditional countdown from number 10 to number 1 being my least favorite to my most favorite, I'm going to go into a little bit more detail specifically with this guy on what my issues were with him, were they resolved, and what new issues I've found now that I have him. If you want to know some other specifics, make sure to check out the Extreme channel page. That's right, we have a website now. I release regular blogs on there almost daily and then some other cool content. It's called theextremechannel.com. And as we dive into all of these pieces, I want to let you know if you haven't seen them before, you can check them out on the channel. I have individual reviews of each and every one of these Silver Surfer pieces that we are going to cover because he is my favorite character. And we're going to talk about a few ones that haven't actually arrived yet. So make sure you not only like this video, but you subscribe to the channel and you hit that bell notification so you can see those videos when it's released. All right, you got all that? Let's kick it off with number 10. So number 10 has a lot of unique things. Not only the really low quality picture here, because it's the only one I could find, because I no longer own it. It was the first Silver Surfer statue I ever received, and it was a custom. It was oversized. I just wasn't really digging it, but at that time when I first got into collecting, you can tell that everything in the background of my basement is very different. I thought this was a great piece. However, I have since very much changed my mind. So this custom version was ranked a lot lower than I thought it would be. Now realistically, as I talked about in the video when I purchased this, I purchased this because I loved its two predecessors, which are higher up in the ranking. Now you may be looking at this coloring beam, that's kind of strange, and it's actually appearing more, it's appearing lighter than it is in real life. This is an unpainted statue, which is traditionally a gray or white or silver type color, which works really well with Norrin Radd or Silver Surfer. So I haven't had this painted, but I have some ideas. For example, the bottom will be a black museum style base. This wave right here, maybe similar to this color right here, something in the space and galaxy. And then of course, just some traditional colors on Silver Surfer. I don't think I'm gonna go chrome. But the anatomy is fantastic on this. I don't like how skinny the board is. It's the skinniest board and it's almost too long, especially comparatively to some of the others as you see. And his expression is just not powerful at all. There is no power, but he is chilling. You know, he's a very thoughtful guy, so it does flow well with the actual comics. And I still really, really like this piece, but I think there's a lot better options out there, at least in my collection, or ones that I have coming. Now, I also expected this one to be much higher on the list. However, I think it has some disadvantages, which we'll talk about. But first, let's talk about the advantages. So first and foremost, I love that it's a different concept. It's on Galactus's hand, which we're going to talk about later because there may be something in the list similar to this, and coming out of an amazing portal that actually has some light up features that I don't have connected. So I think that's pretty cool. It's just simply different. I like the fact that he has a lot of switch out options and the seams are hidden well. I think he has 3 different left arms, if I recall correctly. You can check out the video. And he has a screaming portrait, as well as some other portrait options. This is the only one that I have where it really shows his rage. Again, I think they did a fantastic board. You can see the job with the board. You can see the ripple effect on it. Now this is chromed out, and I don't think the chrome works well on this. I think it's a disadvantage for multiple reasons. I wish I would have went silver on this particular one. And it really makes me question getting chrome on any of the future ones. The Infinity Gauntlet, as you see, does have comic basis, so I like it for that aspect, and I like it to display it with that simply for the fact that it is different. The rocks on the back here, the sculpt isn't the best on those, and the Silver Surfer, the sculpt isn't bad on him, but if I had to choose of all the ones we're looking at today, this is one of the lower ends when it comes to the sculpt. Doesn't mean it's bad, just means it's not as good as some of the other pieces we are looking at. So that's where this guy falls in the countdown. Now, in typical Mr. X fashion, as you saw, that was another number 8 because it's one I forgot that I have coming in. So this is a custom, and the reason why this is lower on the list, even though it looks phenomenal, is the concept really isn't new. He's coming out of his surfboard, out of a black portal, which obviously is kind of what Silver Surfer does, but you're going to see one ranked much higher up than this particular one. Now, the reason why the other one's ranked up, I'll tell you when we get there, but still, this looks phenomenal, has some cool switch outs. One of them, he is actually holding Thor's hammer, which there is comic basis for that. So this custom one I anticipate will be number 8 when it arrives, or tied with number 8. Now, this custom one is the predecessor to the one we talked about earlier, and again, it's actually ranked a little bit lower than I thought it would be. So here he's stepping off his board onto a planet. Maybe it's his home planet, maybe it's the planet where he's hanging out, maybe it's a moon. Now, this also came as an unpainted kit like this. Had this painted by one of my favorite painters. And what I really like about this is kind of the solemn Norrin Radd. He's realizing everything he's done. He's traveled the cosmos. He's helped Galactus kill people, before he kind of turned over his leaf. And you have this awesome base. Like I said, it's really reminiscent of a moon or a planet. He's stepping off. You can see the disconnection from the board with the ripple, the starry effect on the outsides. The anatomy is amazing. It's sculpted by the same one who sculpted the one we looked at earlier, right next to it, right here. See, I'm really not wearing pants. His eyes, I like the blue in his eyes. The Sideshow has white, the chrome ones are just chrome, so I like that it varies in between each piece. So I think this is a good, different representation of Silver Surfer, and I am a big fan. Now we get to Sideshow's new Silver Surfer maquette. Now, this is actually ranking a lot higher than I thought it would. Now, initially, when the photos were released of him, or we saw him at Sideshow Con in 2020, I had a number of issues. Issue number 1, he only came with a half board. Was not digging that, was not digging how he came out of the portal. Issue number 2 was his pose. I didn't like just the way he looked. He looked too menacing, too stiff. And issue number 3 was the position of his legs. Well, I'm happy to tell you that I love the half board. How it's coming out of the black hole or the portal looks fantastic. It looks like you can't see the rest because it's in a magical black hole in another part of space. So that is very well done. Also, his pose. In person, it's very powerful. I like it. It actually is very similar to my phone screen. You can actually check out right here. So I definitely got past that. However, I never did get past the way his legs are. It almost looks like he's getting ready for a ballet step. On top of that, one of the other big issues I have are where his thighs just meld together into one piece. I am not a fan of that. But what I am a fan of this piece is the rest of the anatomy. I think it's fantastic. Daniel Bell did an amazing job. He's actually more defined and more muscular than all of my other Silver Surfers. But I think one thing that accentuates that is the paint. I love the paint on this. I was always a chrome type of person for Silver Surfer. As we talked about, he's kind of white in the comics, not really silver because of the way it's pressed, but when you look at this compared to some of the other ones, I like the color on this one better than them all. I also think they did a great job with the base. Not an amazing job and not the best job, but it is done very well. I like the different colors. I like how it's swirling around, the stars speckled in there. So very impressed with that. And lastly, one of the reasons I like it so much is because of the exclusive proximity piece. I'm not a huge fan of Nova, but with reading so many Silver Surfer comics, she's so prevalent in all of them. Now, this isn't where I'm going to have her permanently stationed. If you want to see where she's going to be stationed, make sure to check out the Extreme Channel Instagram, Facebook page, and TikTok. However, she is a great, fantastic addition to any cosmic line, Galactus, Silver Surfer. So I think that Sideshow really, really met expectations on this, if not exceeded them for quite a few people. Number 5 is yet another custom, and as you can see, it's one that hasn't been released yet, so it's in production right now, and this is the variant. So they have a normal version where he's silver, and then the Dark Surfer right here, which has kind of a different tail, different origin. I love the dynamic flow of this piece. I like how it's dark and it's different, and they only made, I want to say, either 10 or 20. It was definitely less than 30 of the dark version. So really excited to get him in to see how he contrasts with the rest. Number 4 on the list, ironically, is version 4. So we talked about earlier version 2, version 3. We have not yet got to version number 1. But this is another custom, and as you can see, he's not only on Galactus's hand holding his board, but there is a portal arising around him. Now, another interesting facet of this piece is they actually created a more simple base that I am not going to get because I think this is absolutely fabulous. It would be really cool if you could get a big Galactus head to put next to this. I actually used to own the Sideshow legendary bust of Galactus, but I don't think it'd look that good next to this because this is going to be a monstrously huge piece, and I have a feeling it's going to be fantastic. That's why I ranked it at number 4. So this custom is the one I hinted at earlier that is actually very similar to ones coming out of a portal. And as you can see, this one also has a switch out arm where he can hold Thor's hammer, along with 3 or 4 other switch out arms. I got the dark version on this one as well. Very excited. This one to me is kind of your classic Silver Surfer, but with the dark version. And of course you could get him in the regular version as well, but I can't wait to use some of the switch outs that it comes with, and as you see, it has an awesome portal below it. So very cool piece. I anticipate this will be number 3. We will find out. Now this one I'm not sure if he's going to be number 2 because there's a few things about him, mainly the anatomy, that it strikes me as different, but I'm not necessarily a huge fan. But the reason why I have it as number 2 is it's actually the successor of a statue that most people would argue is the best Silver Surfer statue of all time. I don't think that its predecessor is the best, but I definitely think it's one of the best. However, I really look forward to this one. I can't wait to see what this masterpiece looks like. It may not end up being number 2, but it'll definitely be near the top. And not surprisingly, as I hinted at the intro, not only is this guy number 1 as far as Silver Surfer statues, he still remains my favorite statue in my collection. Now with this guy, the number 1 thing he has going for him, and he has a ton of different things, is the pose. I think the pose is the iconic Silver Surfer. You know, Sideshow's even showing this in a print that they are selling. You can check it out right here. He's coming out of the black hole. The black hole's enveloped around his board. I think the board's the perfect size. There is a switch out option where you can have this hand with some cosmic energy coming off of it or without. I did chrome this one out, which I think takes away a little bit of the awesome sculpt detail. And the chrome really shows dust. I just dusted this 2 weeks ago and you're already seeing some on it. But I think it's phenomenal. It's the true Norrin Radd coming out of the black hole. When Silver Surfer shows up, it's, you know, what the hell? People are pretty worried. So I love this piece. It is still my favorite statue. I still think it's the best Silver Surfer statue out there, in my opinion. And will probably never leave my collection until my wife finally offs me. So coming in at number 1, this custom 1/4 scale Silver Surfer, which on a side note was the original version of the 2 we talked about here and the other predecessor that we have coming. To win one of these statues, all you have to do is make sure you've liked this video, you've subscribed to the channel, you've hit that bell notification, and then just drop a comment below. Every 5,000 subscriber milestone, we are going to do a random drawing and pick a random comment and give one of these statues away, plus some additional ones I'm not showing right now. The more videos you comment on, the higher your chances are to win. So that's my countdown, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below which one is your number 1. It may be even one we didn't talk about. So go ahead and comment that below because that'll enter you into the contest. Also, do me a favor. Hit that subscription button. It's that picture of me down below with the lightsabers. And drop me a like on your way out if you want to see more stuff like this. Really appreciate you guys. Talk to you soon. Take care.